Welcome back to Athletic Everyday, day number 140. I've got another upper body workout here for you from London again. For those of you that watched last week, this is actually from the same outdoor gym again. I'm a big fan of working out outdoors in outdoor gyms, especially when it's sunny like this. I want to do a lot more of these workouts over the summer. And what's beautiful about these gyms is it reminds me that you don't actually need that much equipment to get a good workout in. Bodyweight workouts, especially for upper body, are actually enough. You don't really need dumbbells, weights. You don't really need any of that if you want to get a really high quality workout in and to effectively train your upper body. And I would argue that the vast majority of people that do train in gyms that do, they solely rely on dumbbells and they solely use barbells for their upper body training, then I think vast majority of people, general population, they would actually gain a lot from only training calisthenics first before they go on to weights. Purely because I think that when you do upper body calisthenics training, you get a lot more control over your own body weight, and you can actually train your muscles through a lot more of an effective range of motion. And I think the skills are just a lot cooler as well. I mean, for me personally, when I look at a calisthenics athlete do a handstand or I can't even remember what the move is called, but when you go from ground to handstand or handstand to planche, or when you do like a front lever into a muscle up, things like that using your body weight, I think it just looks and seems way cooler for me, at least anyway. I know everything is subjective, but it looks and seems way cooler for me than doing a 50 kilo incline dumbbell bench press. I mean, maybe a gym goer might say that's more interesting, or a bodybuilder might say that's cooler. But I think, being able to control your body like that and be able to do all those fantastic skills, I think it's a lot more of a fun experience to do personally as well. I think it's a lot harder to build up to that as well, because the skills require so much more from you than just overloading a very specific movement pattern over and over and over again. There's a lot more finesse and a lot more skill involved with calisthenics training than there is in bodybuilding training or classic gym training. That's not to say that I don't like doing weight training, and over the last few weeks you've been watching me do split jerks, overhead press, bench press a few months back. I do like these movements, but I think the way I want to go with my upper body training for the most part is going to be calisthenics, going forwards at least, or until that doesn't really seem like it's something I want to do anymore. I just think that I would love to be able to control my upper body with handstands, to be able to do a freestanding handstand, be able to do interesting handstand skills like being able to do a handstand press, for example. That would be awesome, like a full range of motion handstand press, nose or chin to the floor. Although that isn't the same range of motion as an overhead press, it's a very similar movement pattern, and because your hand has to be flat on the floor with your fingers completely splayed, you do get a lot more wrist training with that as well. I find that your wrists get a lot more training in that almost fully extended position, or in the mostly extended position. You have to keep your weight kind of more towards the tips of your fingers, or like closer towards the tips of your fingers when you do a handstand, for example. And a good analogy for practicing handstands, now that it's on the screen actually, is you can think about it's just like the reverse of your lower body. When you stand, you generally, if you want to stop yourself from falling forwards, you want to have your weight on the ball of your foot. You don't always want to have your weight in the heels, because if your weight's in the heels, there's nowhere to go. You can't stop yourself from falling without putting the balls of your feet down. If you're on your heels and I push you backwards, you have to put your foot back to stop you. So it's the same thing with handstands. I was always thinking that you have to keep your weight in the heel of your hands, but that's actually the wrong area of your body. So I noticed from doing this workout here, really trying to focus on keeping the weight in my not in my fingertips, but closer towards my fingertips, I noticed that I got a lot more wrist activation. I think, again, if you wanted to train forearms and grow bigger forearms, stronger forearms, more mobile and able forearms, then handstands are definitely the way to go. And just some anecdotal experience and hearing what other weightlifters have said, that handstand training is actually a fantastic way to improve your overhead strength for things like overhead press and split jerks. If I'm being perfectly honest with you, that would be the only skill that I find interesting at the moment that is worth training with a barbell for upper body, even though a split jerk isn't technically upper body, it's mostly lower body. But I generally think that working on handstands will do nothing but improve my upper body training. And again, improving front levers, again, I think that will do nothing but improve my upper body training. And then outside of that, pull-ups and dips is there really a muscle that and push-ups, is there really a muscle group that I'm missing with my upper body there that's not going to be trained through a full range of motion and loaded effectively? And not to mention also the core training you get. Every time you do a front lever, you can see how my core is being engaged. You can literally see the muscles. You can see my abdominal muscles being engaged. Every time I do a handstand, again, that's also core engagement. Every time you do a push-up, every time you do a pull-up, every time you do a dip, it's utilizing your whole upper body. It's not just isolating those very, it's not just thinking about it in terms of, it's a pushing movement pattern, therefore it's chest, shoulders and triceps. There's so much more going on with stabilization because you are, again, it's a free body weight movement. Your body isn't fixed in a specific movement pattern. Your body is free to move. You have to then stabilize your body weight through that range of motion to prevent yourself from moving excessively. So it's my thinking that training calisthenics movements and learning to get better and better and more advanced at the calisthenics movements, for my upper body training at least, will then supplement everything else that I'm doing with my lower body training. I think a combination of the two will be the perfect unity. Like being able to do, again, at least in my eyes, an elite athlete is able to have complete control over their body weight. So body weight training naturally, to me, seems to be the best option for it. So that was my thinking for starting to sort of specialize a little bit more of my upper body training into just calisthenics training. A big goal of mine would be to be able to do full handstand push-ups freestanding. I can do like 1 or 2 against the wall now, but a big goal will be able to do those completely freestanding, just like out in the open in the middle of a field somewhere, and also to be able to press into a handstand. So to go from hands and feet on the floor without jumping my feet off the floor, just to be able to I can't even remember the actual specific name for that movement is called, but it kind of looks like a straddle when you lift your legs up wide and then you go up into a handstand. You guys, if you've seen a lot of calisthenics highlights and training before, then you'll know what I mean. Interestingly enough, this guy that you're seeing here on the leg press actually used to work for Cirque du Soleil, and he actually runs a class where people do handstand practice and handstand arts. He showed me some pictures from his Facebook group where people, doing single arm handstands, cool gymnastics and circus tricks, with ropes, with ropes and things like that. And he just said, come on to one of these classes one time. And I thought maybe I'll definitely consider doing that because I would love to be able to have that amount of control in my upper body. And I think what could be more athletic than being able to do a handstand, a front lever, a muscle up, just having that amount of control with your upper body, being able to move your body weight around like that with such control and poise. So definitely going to take him up on that offer at some point. And obviously I'll record it when I do. But yeah, so that was my workout today. Thank you very much for watching, guys. I really appreciate all of your support, and I will catch you guys in the next one tomorrow.